I pushed Catherine from the parapet.
Our pressure's a little high this afternoon. It's all these police. We mustn't worry. I'll check back after my break. Try and get some rest, Mrs. Cassadine.
Yes, I'm calling for Stefan Cassadine. Is he still in the meeting with the police commissioner? No, I'll try to reach him later. Thank you.
Pushed Catherine off the parapet?
You can't do this.
I'm afraid I already have.
He's lying.
Do you want to tell us what really happened?
We were both in the study. We didn't see what happened.
It's all right, Laura. I've admitted the truth. I pushed Catherine, but it was an accident.
Well, how many stories does this make? You were in the study. Didn't see a thing. You were with Catherine, but didn't mean to push her. See, but I have a witness. That heard an argument.
I killed Catherine Bell.
Can't you do something?
My client has nothing else to say.
What about you, Laura? Excuse me. Anybody mind if I, use this?
Yes.
Listen to your lawyer.
You don't need to lie for me anymore.
Please don't do this.
Mr. Cassadine, as your attorney, I strongly recommend that you end this meeting.
I went up to look in on my mother. I saw Catherine on the parapet.
Just standing around?
I assumed she'd been speaking with my mother. She visited her with some frequency.
Please don't do this. Please.
I asked Catherine to leave. She refused. Then she began taunting me. She said that it was her destiny to be a Cassadine and there was nothing I could do. I asked her to reconsider the marriage. I offered her a great deal of money to disappear. I threatened to ruin her business. She laughed. She said that I would never harm her because of Nicholas. Then she admitted she never loved him, that she only seduced him to embarrass me.
It was an accident.
Why are you so certain? Laura, please. Just tell me what really happened.
I don't know what really happened.
Catherine said she was going to marry Nicholas for revenge against me. She was willing to ruin my son's life. I said that she was pathetic, that people were laughing at her. She was humiliating herself. I said no one would ever love her. She became enraged. She attacked me. I pushed her away. I pushed too hard. She lost her balance. She fell.
That's a nice story. Unfortunately, none of the evidence backs you up. I've got a caterer who saw a blonde figure on the parapet, a gardener who heard an argument. So where were you? In the study with Stefan? On the parapet? If you were, why didn't you see him? If you're going to lie to me, at least get your story straight.
Catherine and I argued. She attacked me. I pushed her away. She fell.
You killed her.
Nicholas, you don't understand.
What's to understand? You killed my fiancée.
I want you to leave, Nicholas.
I don't care what you want.
I'll go with you. I can explain everything. Please.
Don't leave just yet, Laura.
Laura has no reason to be here, neither does my son.
Nicholas, do you mind a few more questions about that night?
No, you don't have to answer a thing.
That's right.
Do you remember anything else about that night?
My son has nothing to do with this.
Did you hear any arguments?
Don't answer that.
We can go now. We can go.
The night it happened?
No, I didn't hear any arguments.
Did you ever hear your father and Catherine argue before?
That's irrelevant.
She goaded him in arguments. She made him furious. And if she ever got in the way of all that anger...
It was an accident.
You have no evidence. My client is under emotional duress. His statement conflicts with everyone else.
I stand by my statement.
Then I have no choice. I'll have to book you. But, Laura, I'd like to speak with you privately.
It isn't necessary.
It's okay with me.
Please go with her.
I don't need a lawyer. I didn't do anything.
Excuse me.
I need to speak to my father.
Go ahead.
Alone.
We won't be long.
I wish you would listen to me.
I'll contact you later today.
Did you push Catherine?
Yes.
Then it was murder.
You're holding out on me, Laura. And now is not the time. Do you really want Stefan to have to pay for this?
Catherine Bell was a miserable, manipulative woman.
And a friend of mine.
But not for a long time, right? She changed. She changed, Mac. A lot. After the first fall, she all of a sudden became obsessed with Nicholas to the point of faking a pregnancy. And she hated everyone who stood between her and Nicholas. Believe me, she was more than capable of goading anyone into violence.
Is there any chance you want to tell me the whole story?
Excuse me. This just came in. It might affect the Catherine Bell case.
Thanks.
What is it?
Let's go back inside. Does the name Ari Andropoulos mean anything to anyone?
He works on my mother's yacht.
Not anymore. He's dead.
Understated. Elegant. Perfect for Stefan's sentencing.
Feeling any better? You've got a little color back in your cheeks. That's nice. It's very nice. What's the matter with your nurse, Shouldn't she straighten out your bed at least once a day? I've learned, Helena, that you're pretty fond of Luke Spencer. He's become a liability. And I'll have to deal with that in a very serious manner. Don't worry about it. We still have his son. Nice to know, isn't it? She's a slop, that nurse of yours. Do you know that? She really is. Yeah. Well, I'm sure Stefan couldn't care less. Yeah, I know I haven't been here for a while, and I'm sorry about that. That won't happen again. So, I hope I'll see you soon.
You annoy me, darling.
need people who annoy me.
When was the last time you saw Ari Andropoulos?
He visited my mother a few weeks ago.
Laura, what about you?
She doesn't know him.
He dropped off Catherine's medical records to me. That's all.
Does anybody see the connection here?
My grandmother had a lot of enemies. Anyone could have killed him.
That's right. Anybody at all.
We're ready to process the suspects, sir.
Does anyone else have anything to say? You're under arrest for the murder of Catherine Bell.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you by the courts. Do you understand these rights as I have said them to you?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Jim. Have a seat.
I'll stand. Do you entertain all your suspects?
I'm making an exception because the victim was a friend of mine. I don't think you murdered Catherine.
I didn't. As I told you, we were arguing, and I pushed her.
Then why does all the evidence point to Laura as the person that was up on that parapet with Catherine? You know, it is a matter of court record that Laura blacks out during moments of high stress and emotional crisis. She could plead that and probably convince the court that there was no intent to murder. She would receive a reduced sentence, possibly even an outright release. Now, why don't you do us all a big favor and withdraw this false confession?
I'm relatively certain it's a violation of my rights for the police commissioner to badger me, especially in the absence of counsel.
We can fix that. Carol, send in Miss Davis.
Miss Davis isn't my attorney.
I'll give you some privacy.
You've wasted a trip. I have nothing to say to you.
Then maybe you should listen. You're in trouble. Stefan Noble's gestures are all fine and good, but you could end up in prison for a long time unless you let me help you.
I already have a legal team, Alexis. And do you know what sets them apart from you? When I was on trial before for this exact charge, none of them was the true guilty party. For that matter, where were you the night of Catherine's death this time? Or your friend Luke Spencer, where was he? Do you take me for a fool?
When it comes to protecting Laura Spencer, yes, I do, because you give me good reason. She could have ended that whole debacle before
As
by
could you.
simply saying that she was with you, which she was, and that you didn't lay a hand on Catherine. Stefan, if you didn't do it, let me get you released. If Laura did it, let me defend her.
Why should I?
Because I can get her off.
So can any number of attorneys in my employ, all of whom I trust.
I'm better. Trust that.
As I recall in our last conversation, you said you wanted nothing more to do with me. You loathe the ground I walk on. Why would I want you defending me? Why would I trust you?
Because
you lied to me. You conspired with my enemy.
Are you capable of letting the past be the past, or are you going to let this grudge with me cost you your future? All right, why don't you use my guilt to your advantage? Isn't that what we Cassadines do? We use one another. I want you free.
How can I argue with that?
Good. The first order of business is for me to secure her release. You just sit tight, and I will try to track down a sympathetic judge.
Alexis, don't make me regret it.
Bail's been set. The paperwork's already been started. You should be out in a couple of hours.
Your attorney's here, so let me reiterate. I don't buy your confession for a second. We have an eyewitness who puts a blonde figure on the balcony with Catherine. That would be Laura Spencer. No one's mentioned you. Now, all you're doing is obstructing justice. You're not fooling anyone. Yes. All right, I'll be right there. I will send the guard back in.
Did Laura do it?
I won't discuss my case here. See what you can do to expedite my release. I'd like to get home.
Try to light a fire.
Yes, I should be released within the next couple of hours. In the meantime, Mrs. Lansbury, I'd like you to check on my mother. I want to make sure all the excitement hasn't harmed her. That she's in the same state she was in when I left.